A holder of 2 advanced degrees from MIT, Deputy Secretary Shanahan took on his current assignment after accumulating an enormous wealth of experience in critical defense systems. He served for 3 decades at Boeing, where he was in charge of critical missile defense systems. This included projects such as the ground-based mid-course defense system, the airborne laser, and the advanced tactical laser. He was also in charge of rotorcraft systems, overseeing the company's U.S. Army aviation assets, including the Apache, the Chinook, and the Osprey program. Also, as Senior Vice President for commercial airplane programs, he oversaw Boeing's world-renowned commercial aircraft fleet from the 737 all the way to the company's magnificent 787 Dreamliner. Now, spearheading what might be the largest spending increases and growth in the U.S. military since the Reagan years, we are honored to have him with us today. I'd like you to please join me in welcoming Deputy Secretary of Defense, Patrick Shanahan.
Yeah, I'd say those 30 years were a good warm-up act. John, thank you, and I'm going to make sure to get a copy of your book on the way out of town here. So thank you for that warm introduction. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in today's dynamic world, strong leadership is more critical than ever. I cannot picture a crowd more in tune with the importance of good leadership than this one. It is my first time here, but many of you have been coming to this event for years. The beauty of the forum is its ability to draw together such invested, knowledgeable, and diverse leaders from the executive branch, military services, Congress, industry, our allies and partners, and the media. It's a privilege to speak with you on a topic as vital as national security. And I am mindful that it has been a long and productive day, Roger, not exhaustive, so I aim to keep my remarks brief. In my time at DoD, I've already interacted with many of you. You're not a passive bunch. The phrase full contact sport is definitely not lost on you. I've had the good fortune to interact with President Trump. He has been clear on his expectations. Build a stronger military. Take care of our men and women in uniform, and excel in the management of our business operations. Secretary Mattis and I appreciate your endeavors to address a critical facet of our national security, military readiness. This bipartisan effort bridges the political spectrum. In one ear, I hear Senator Reid rightly asserting our need for a well-trained, properly equipped military force that can deploy on a moment's notice. In my other ear, Chairman Thornberry urging of our moral responsibility to meet the readiness challenge. Today, it is inspiring to join this large team of sharp minds working to confront reality and identify opportunities. And I look forward to the action today's discussions will foster. I've been in my role as Deputy Secretary of Defense for 4.5 months now. The transition from more than 30 years in the private sector has been surprisingly smooth and seamless. The environment is similar, but with higher stakes. It's a large organization tasked with serious decisions on safety and security. I will say, a couple of the department's behaviors strike me as abnormal. First, operating without a budget is not normal. Doing so every year for 9 years is really not normal. Next, Airplanes are meant to fly. A service with significant number of its airplanes grounded and awaiting maintenance is not normal. Part of my job as a leader is guarding against the normalization of abnormal behaviors within the department. A high level of performance is not only expected of our military, it is essential for America's security, no matter the constraints. As Secretary Mattis often says, there is nothing new under the sun. And we do not have to look far into the past to find another time when our military faced serious obstacles to readiness and modernization. 80 years ago, we faced rapidly evolving threats from across the Pacific and the Atlantic. While military leaders sought stable funding, political tensions and budgetary pressures stymied readiness efforts until the Second World War arrived on our doorstep. In 1938, General George Marshall captured the dangers of unpreparedness in a way that still strikes a chord. War is sudden and a terrible business. We must be prepared to defend ourselves, and almost every War Department problem involves consideration of dollars and cents. Today, artificial constraints still hold our national defense hostage. From budget stresses like continuing resolutions and Budget Control Act caps, to disagreements in Congress that affect timely decision-making. Right now, we have time, one of our most precious resources, but we lack the stable budget needed to prepare for future fights. In a crisis, Congress will undoubtedly fund us for conflict, but we will lack the time to prepare. Let's heed General Marshall's warning. We cannot rely on a crisis to be the catalyst for solutions. The cost of global conflict is simply too high, and we value our men and women in uniform far too much. A rapidly changing global security environment and budgetary instability have forced our department into a risk management posture, the consequences of which are hard to calculate. For any fellow engineers in the room, let me draw a physics analogy. According to Hooke's law, elastic materials bounce back to their original shape after stresses are removed from their environment. But if stress exceeds a certain limit, the materials will fail to regain their original shape. They become permanently deformed. The Department of Defense has its limits to elasticity. Excessive pressure in the form of budgetary instability has the potential to permanently distort our department's character and lessen the lethality. I know from my experience in industry just how long it can take to build a culture of excellence. Therefore, as a department, we must shift our focus from risk management to seizing opportunities in order to remain competitive. A risk-balanced, opportunity-driven approach will spark innovation and help protect our hard-earned culture of excellence from the unintended distortion of budgetary instability. To address these challenges, our forthcoming National Defense Strategy, nested under the National Security Strategy, and our fiscal year 19 budget are designed to sustain long-term readiness and modernization. We are building alignment across the department, the interagency, with industry, and other partners and allies. We all view these efforts through the critical lenses of lethality and affordability. After all, we must remember the department's primary purpose is to be as lethal as possible, ensuring our diplomats continue to speak from a position of strength. This is only possible when our enemies know with certainty that our that we are ready to fight and win our wars, and our allies know that America stands steady alongside them. A stable budget is essential for this. As I alluded to earlier, I'm struck by the talent in this room. As individuals, you possess no shortage of skills and resources. Our challenge then is harnessing individual talent into one team effort, embodying the true nature of our nation's guiding principle, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. I know we can succeed if we stay focused on our goal, winning against any adversary to keep America safe. I close with General Washington's wisdom. To be prepared for war is one of the most effectual means of preserving peace. This belief drives us and will continue to drive us in all we do. Thank you.